Si Garma, I mean, sariling mga ano.
Alam mo, it's so obvious naman kasi what Digong did. Actually, what surprises me is that nobody is still indicting him or nobody's charging him because of the fact of all his pronouncements. He already admitted using the confidential funds to kill people. Galing sa sarili niyang bibigyan. He already admitted several times to killing people. He seems to even celebrate in the idea that he can make such pronouncements and admissions and nobody can do anything about it. He already said so many times na about, yun na nga, na kaibigan niya itong mga pogos at walang problema sa kanila and formally, lagot ang mga Senado for even investigating formally. Kinakalaban niya ang sarili niyang bansa against all the people, his cohorts or the allies or the people that benefited from his presidency. And that's what surprises me is that nobody's doing anything about it. Digong, yes, for me is the worst president ever. We agree on that. Kasi first, the mass murders, number one. Number two, favoring another country as the sitting president.
Are you saying treasonous?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You're the president. You're the president of the Philippines and you allow a Chinese Navy ship to dock in Davao. And then you allowed Chinese military jets to dock in Davao and they were docking with empty. These were empty vessels, walang laman. And what was inside those things? What were you putting or pulling out of that? And he wouldn't even tell anyone.
Stem cell daw, stem cell.
Tapos and plus the fake war on drugs. That's the worst part of it. You know, the human rights violations. Now, I'm gonna add lang, I know that mga DDS, yung mga natitirang konting DDS that are still saying na, pero tignan mo, kagaya sabi ni Bongo, yung katahimikan na na-enjoy nating mga Pilipino dahil sa ginawa ni Duterte. So, inaamin mo nga may ginawa si Duterte, number one. Number two, yung usapan na nagkaroon ng peace and order, even Goma said it, diba? There's peace and order. Okay.
Richard Gomez.
Sure. Let's look at statistics, okay? We all agree that we all want peace and order. We want less crime, right? But less crime without the abuses by the PNP, without the abuses of government, without the corruption, without mga dayuhan actually invading our country. Without all of that, that's what I want. Unfortunately, the one in power took advantage of this war on drugs to be able to propel himself and all his the people around him to riches and to steal from the government. Now, nanahimik ang Pilipinas, diba? Sabi nila during the time of Duterte. Guess what? Crime numbers are actually down in the time of Marcos by 60 or 70%. The crime volume went down from 190,000.
BBM.
No, I'm just saying, it really is from 100.
Cool pulse yun eh.
Parang
every time BBM.
190,000 na volume, it went down to 73,000.
Shout out Secretary Abalos.
Exactly.
Mandaluyong, here we come.
Mandaluyong represent.
That number
fire shot.
That number really impressed me. And then that's when you can see
kalaban ng kriminal, pero yung kalaban at kriminal lang nakikita.
Pero tingnan mo to Abalos did it without having to kill people.
Yes, exactly.
Without
Baguio, Magalong.
Magalong, exactly. You didn't have to
walang JK sa amin.
kill people, but people were not being killed by the police and you still got peace and order.
Exactly.
And people weren't afraid. That's the problem
Pasig
with
rin.
Pasig.
I wanted to say, alam na Mark, saan mo kaming mga background information. I won't mention other cities because, I got weird information here and there. Mark, kasi one is, for me, just in my journalistic fairness, let the evidence and all come out before I make that final judgment, although I already implied that all the time, di ba? Now, medyo mahirap. But the other thing is, pabaksak din yung popularity ng Duterte, di ba? Kulelat sila, walang tumakbo sa Senate. Si Baste, na-demote pa sa vice mayor na lang. Si Polong, medyo alanganin siguro kay Migs Nograles. Digong, well, he's gonna win it most likely. But
You think?
I
don't know.
What I'm hearing.
But is he gonna finish his term? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look good. I mean, I don't know, man. So even if Carl Nogales loses this round, if he keeps it close,
Yeah.
and then basta yung next round, good luck sa inyo.
Yeah, and isn't it true though? I think that is the rumor going around that the only reason Digong is running is because they knew that Baste was not liked by any of the councilors or any of the people around him, and they're all saying that he's really a bad mayor. So when they found out through the grapevine that Nograles was gonna run, then Digong said, "Ako na lang." Yun eh. Pero my God, if you listen to Digong's reasons on why he's running, it's ridiculous. I'm actually going to do a video
Digong
about
and
it.
reasons, I mean, the same sentence. I'm not sure, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so,
Yeah.
pero ito lang masasabi ko, with Digong running, honestly, there was a good comment that was made on one of my videos, the one I did about Nograles and Duterte. Sabi nila, alam mo, we really believe that Duterte is running because of his lust for blood. Because when you've been a mass murderer for the last 36 years of your life. Actually, he's been killing even while he was in college. He admitted killing a fellow law student.
Siya, oh.
Yeah. So he's already had that lust for blood and he got away with it back then. And he got away with it on the 30 years as mayor. Can you imagine somebody who's nasa DNA mo na yan eh. Hinahanap mo yung pagpatay ng tao. That's your dopamine fix. That is a megalomaniac to the level of Hitler. Yeah. To the level of Napoleon Bonaparte. Psychopath that loves the power and this grand illusion of grandeur that he is God. He calls himself Superman. Okay, he wants people to call him.
He insulted the Lord. I mean, this guy is.
He thinks he's God, so he's above the law. So in this sense,
he was best friend of son of.
Oh yeah, there you go, the son of God.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, like
Sure. So
I don't know what dynamic they got, but
so it's like they're Trinity.
I don't know, man.
So
crazy stuff. So you're saying no question he's worst by far, even if as we were critical about all the kapalpakan. Kasi ako naman, kung katamaran ang usapan, yes, close fight, Digong, Erap. Kung corruption scandals, Arroyo, Duterte. If, EJ case, Senior Duterte. You know what I'm saying? Like, foreign policy, he's like way ahead of everyone else.
Yun, exactly. So if you look at it on several categories, talagang panalo si Digong sa pagiging worst president.
I'm willing to go up to Aguinaldo and make still that argument.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
I'm willing to go like First Republic.
Kahit yung mga under Japan, no,
Kahit isama po si Laurel, lahat, I'm willing to argue that the collaboration with Japan saved more lives, I mean, I'm talking about Laurel, than this guy collaborating with China and dami namatay sa I'm just saying, like, even if you play the historian card, I'm willing to stand by that ground. Shout out kay Ambet Ocampo and our friends, the historians. Go ahead, but yeah, I mean, that's crazy. But what are we learning in the Quadcom that could be politically explosive? Mark, sa tingin mo, I mean, we discussed this a little bit in RRM, but since last week our conversation, you think the Garma thing, the Kervin Espinosa thing, the Espanido thing, I'll go back to Mr. Hearing an analyst here kasi ito talaga, how explosive do you think na ex-lover of the president potentially serving as a chief witness for the whole, ito na yung totoong Matrix talaga, yung Matrix na totoo, hindi yung kay Jollibee at saka kay si Edu Manzana
at saka si Hidlin Diaz lahat sinali na.
Nainggit ako, di ako nilagay doon nun eh. So ito na yung totoong Matrix, meron na tayong idea. So what do you think about that?
Ayun, kasi kumbaga the people on the top nung panahon na yun are starting to feel the pressure na eh. Kumbaga, the building up is from the ICC and dun sa Quadcom and dun sa lahat ng... So, ako I'm really interested to see what else we would find out dun sa mga pangyayari. Kasi we all heard about it. It was an open secret nga dun sa mga police and sa mga pero yung level o yung degree nung how they were doing it and kung paano nila and how much and kung sino yung who was carrying it out, who was
it matters, no? Details matter. Kasi you can have a spectral, abstract idea of a horrible thing. It's like war. Someone says, ang dami nakamatay sa Gaza. And then you see people being burned alive by a bomb. Medyo iba yung effect. You see a mangled child losing the head. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like we don't...
And yung evidence talaga.
In your face.
It really matters talaga as to hearsay or yung naririnig natin or yung pinag-uusapan nila doon. So ito may actual na affidavit, may actual na evidence, may actual na mga nagte-testify. So mabigat eh.
Pero tingin mo ba si Garma is just an innocent bystander as she claims to be?
No one believes that.
no.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
everyone
but
knows.
see, that's my worry about her.
Makakasuhan siya, di ba?
Yan ang takot ko nga doon sa kanyang affidavit. Kasi when you make an affidavit, you're claiming that that's the truth, right? That's a sworn statement.
So you're saying the veracity will be questioned?
Yes,
Kasi
yes, because
she got herself scot-free too much.
of course, she says, kayo lahat alam nyo yan. You all participated. I just knew about it. What the heck? Are you serious? See, bakit kaya, isipin mo, paano namatay si Barayuga? I mean, come on. You were
That's how
the
it started.
Yeah, you're the PCO chair and you admitted that you got a phone call from a friend out of nowhere saying na Barayuga is doing drugs. And then you happen to mention it to Leonardo and then Leonardo acted on it on his own. Come on.
Just to be clear, Leonardo is the chief operating officer, COO of this whole drug war operation. So if they're going CEO, he's the COO, right?
Yeah, parang ganon. Yeah. And not just that. Now then after that he became Napolcom, 'di ba?
Oh, definitely.
Which is like that's the ano tawag mo doon yung internal affairs, Napolcom. And how do you find fault when the person in charge of looking for fault in the police is the head of the freaking
Well, isn't that what Bato and Bango want? They will investigate themselves in the Senate. Isn't that ridiculous?
Sobrang conflict of interest naman yung gusto nilang mangyari doon na sila yung kakausap kay Tatay Digong, sila yung
pero actually, sorry, going back, I would love them to have their own hearing kasi feeling ko Jonathan Morales na naman may dudulas sa sige si Dico kay Bato na yan inutos ko hindi na ginawa yung pinatay lang niya gagagano siya I'm sure actually I want it to happen para lang pagtawanan natin.
No, I'll tell you I have this theory on Duterte sa mental capacity.
Acuity,
yeah, and honestly
dudulas yan.
Hindi madudulas, he will admit it. I think Duterte will incriminate himself not because he wants to, but because he can't help himself. Yung ayaw niya kasi na kine-question siya. He hates it. He hates it when media questions him. That's why whenever media says to him, "Are you going to do this?" Hell, you know I'm gonna do it. Papatayin ko talaga.
So between his ego and his political he'll choose his ego.
Versus political survival. Yes, psychopath.
If he's a psychopath, psychopaths don't care.
Psychopaths want to admit they committed a crime. They want you to try to catch them.
They'll boast it pa.
Yeah, the Ted Bundys, they do that. They're trying for you to catch them and see if you can. Kaya nga nung Ted Bundy is a classic case of a psychopath He really said na, I did it. Tapos try to
So tama ako na ituloy na yan. Kasi,
ituloy talaga, whether it's Quadcom or Senate.
Ito problema ko, pag tinuloy sa Senate, who will stand up to Digong?
No.
Riza will.
Risa lang, no? Si Risa lang.
Speaking of Risa, di ba?
So siguro
kaya niya yan.
Dalawa kami ni Risa doon. Magka-Quadcom kami doon sa Senado. Hindi kasi yung mga senador parang ang soft Kung ikukumpara mo sa, di ba? Kung ikukumpara mo sa
Congress.
No, but in fairness to Riza, so she tried to immediately checkmate this because I think everyone cried foul about, wait, yung in-investiga, mag-investigation.
Galing nung ginawa niya.
So immediately she said, wait, bakit si Bato ang mag-overseeing hearing? Let the Senate President do it.
Yeah.
So siguro habang nag-ayos ng eyebrows or Paris Fashion Week, yayan niya na because I don't think Cheese will, in fairness kay Cheese, he's a smart guy and I think he's smart enough to realize he cannot look pro-Digong or shielding them. But ako, I still like the crazy idea of Bato overseeing it. It will go and Digong feeling comfortable.
Yeah, we'll just say everything.
Spill all the beans. Gagana si Bato doon.
Pero alam mo, I look at Digong. If you ever seen the movie A Few Good Men?
Yes, of course.
Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson, yung character niya, yan si Digong Yung I made the order and I don't
Proud
wanna...
pa siya,
because you don't want to have to deny you made the order. Kasi nga, and he even said, you're living with the comfort that I provide you, with the security I provide. So don't question the method of how I provide it. It is exactly how Duterte is. Kaya I'm telling you, if you put him on the stand,
he will do that.
He will say it because he hates the fact that he's gonna be questioned by Kabataan Representative Manuel or si Franz Castro. Pag humarap si Franz Castro, bumurahin niya yan. Sabi niya.
Dapat nga pinatay ko kayo. Sabi niya, alam mo, ito kasi tanga tong inutusan ko, di ka pinatay. I'm sure he'll say that shit.
He will. And then, but the question is, kasi I think he still believes that the Congress and the government agencies and BBM will not have the balls to actually cite him in contempt or worse, charge him with a felony because what he did is a felony. Hindi siya exempt doon. Kaya If BBM wants to increase his ratings, eto,
This
if
would
he
be
did
good.
that, my God, I'll tell
Actually,
you, shoots up the roof.
Mark, I want to also get your idea on this, diba? Parang Duterte is the kind of a madman theory, right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna go so crazy, you'll think twice before crossing me. The problem is that you cannot do that forever. If you do that forever, madness is the method. Hindi na siya the method in the madness. And we see that, diba? I mean, the reason why watak-watak itong unit team is not because of BBM. It's because napuno na si First Lady. Na everyday, binabastos niya yung asawa ko, bating baste na...
Oh, yeah, that was
Butas
so
ng
bad.
Parang, what the heck? Tapos tumatawa pa si Sarah. Otherwise, if it's just up to BBM, paras kayo di ba? Conflict avoidant, may unit team pa rin.
Yun ang problem kay BBM.
Yun naman. Pero at least yung asawa niya, mahutak.
And si Martin Romualdez.
Yeah, so the adults yan, like, kami ng balad. Di ba? Kasi,
Yes.
Doon mo makita gaano ka suicidal politically si Digong. Wala siyang pake. He will just go there. And it's a hubris and it's also this delusion that as si Tatay Harry put it, it's the Duterte magic, which is, I'm not sure that black magic is working as much, right? What do you think about that? That Duterte is really digging his own grave here, and maybe you want to give him the final blow. Put him on a hearing and let him do a crazy... Parang he wants to go out with a bang.
Oh,
diba?
yeah.
Do the craziest
I agree with you. I really want that hearing to happen. Let's go.
But good po, is that the nearest thing we're going to get of having Duterte on trial?
I don't think Duterte is going to attend. Yun lang. I really believe...
I really want him to.
Yeah, I don't think he will. Kasi
Kung
alam
hindi
niya na...
Kung hindi si Bato, kung
Hindi,
hindi
feeling
si...
ko si
Kahit si Bato, hindi ang pupunta
Kahit si
dito.
Bato, hindi pa rin mag-attend.
Tingin ko hindi attend yun. I'd be surprised if he did. Because he will incriminate
Or
himself.
let's say, okay, for the sake,
Yung
he'll first attend na mukhang kawawa, matanda, and then wala pang 10 minutes, mainit na ulo niya.
Oh!
Wala na yan.
As soon as you ask him the hard questions that he hates, especially if Ariza Hontiveros
yung
asking
matrigger siya.
matitrigger yan. Bibigay yan.
And by the way, kahapon kausap ko si Justice Carpio, technically, the evidence gathered there could be also used by ICC.
Yes,
So actually, the Quadcom, and they're doing the legwork na for ICC. Ang maging negotiation lang mamaya is if ICC believes that now finally the Philippines is taking care of its business. Kasi di ba under the principle of complementarity, hindi pwede pumasok ang international courts if the domestic institutions are functioning. So now, ang debate is, oh, you're functioning very well, but do you still want me to come in? But nevertheless, you can see this, that this could be not the final trial. Baka madala pa rin sa Europe si Kuya, di ba? But this is interesting. Now, let's talk about Davao politics, no? Kasi the Nograleses are pretty smart people. I don't think they will run for office if they think they're completely hopeless. And if they don't think a lot of support is not coming in.
Yeah.
They're essentially the admin's bet right now. Di ba? Sabi ni Ronald, di ba, dadagsan sila ng grasya sa elections na yan.
Babaha talaga dyan.
Babaha ng grasya. So, speaking of Davao, I think some of our Davaoenyo friends have misunderstood me kasi sabi ko, I had experienced fantastic in Davao. I'm Ilocano, I'm very proud of Ilocano Bagay, but I would say mas warm pa sila. Mas warm pa sila in Davao. And I remember when I was in Davao 2018, I gave a talk at Ateneo de Davao. Fantastic treatment, etc. And then even sa airport, yung iba, if they recognize you, parang syempre, takot ako. Hindi, actually, parang they're willing to, parang sport sila, na even if criticize mo si Digong, I mean, and then the funniest experience I had in Davao was people in Davao asking me what I think about Duterte and how is he performing in Manila. Kasi parang...
So they don't know your stance on Duterte?
No, they know my stance, and yet, parang curious sila, where is Richard getting all of this confidence to write a book about him, academic book, etc.? So they were genuinely curious. I mean, I had a talk at Ateneo de Davao, for instance, also there. And there were like all chair departments there. And each of them were asking me questions about Duterte. How do you analyze him at the national and international level? Because I would compare him to Bolsonaro, Trump, what is there, what is not
right.
there. So parang my point is, it's only in comparison that you know what the person is. Kasi if you only know Davao and Duterte, you really don't know Duterte.
Yes.
It's only when you compare. So I brought that comparative perspective. So they really appreciated that. And they were very curious. Kamusta siya sa Manila? Parang ayaw ng tao sa kanya. Sabi ko, ganito, ganyan. So I actually had one of the most illuminating and friendliest conversation in Davao. So actually, I love to go back to Davao. I just hope it's still safe. Kasi someone joke you're like frenemy number 1 or something like
Yun
that.
nga, paano ko nangampanya dun eh.
I don't want to go to Davao. I'll be honest. That's why I'm surprised you did because I'd be afraid to go to Davao.
How do Davaoenos feel ba about EJ case kaya? Yun ang...
Okay, this is where I got into some trouble because I think a lot of Davaoenyo friends took offense or at least took exception to what I said na mahirap malaman ano talagang gusto ng tao habang may climate of fear.
Yes.
So if you go to Reddit, there's a whole thread about what I posted on Twitter. Obviously, Twitter is not the most eloquent version of me. But a big chunk was, they saw it as an insult from a Manileño when they forget I'm actually from Provincia Tobago. But there were other people that actually said their own life story. Yung dad daw niya, manager, may sinabi lang about Duterte, one day may kumatok, oy, gusto mong tumahimik, ganon. Yung iba nag-migrate na lang out of Davao. So actually, may mga nagsasalita na rin doon. So it just confirms the climate of fear I was talking about. Now, you don't need to invite Trillanes to tell you about the death squads. You don't need to read Patricia Mingalisa's book to know about the operations there. So I think there's and the reason, because I've been to North Korea, I've been to China, I've been to many authoritarian countries. And honestly, you talk to people there, they rather say they like the president.
Right.
Like if you do a survey in Russia, someone calls you, comrade, what do you think about Vladimir Putin? Do you think he's a great guy? What are the options? Good, great, fantastic. We have higher than that, comrade. Okay, because I'm like, and then that's the open scare. The other one is, if you can't beat it, join it. Meaning, just buy the narrative.
Yeah.
So, 3 decades na sila dun. Ang tagal na
Yes.
mga Dutertes. So I felt medyo hindi I think the Dutertes, and Mark is always harping on that. I think they've been so good in weaponizing itong mga taga Manila, mga kupa, elites, ganun. Kaya ako always
It's
emphasize,
us against them. Parang ganun.
medyo konyo itsura ko. So they try to actually no. What I'm saying is, do not equate Duterte to Davao, because Davao is so much better than Duterte.
Right.
And yes, Duterte maybe was necessary, maybe, again, it's an argument, 1980s and 90s, nung Duterte was like Nicaragua. But Davao is super nice and developed right now. I think they have outgrown the need for those kinds of leaders.
Yep.
But yun nga, so I hope my Davao friends, I'm saying this in a very friendly, we don't, kasi kami sa Baguio, we also feel the same. Galit kami sa mga taga Manila, mga kupal to mga. Kasi ako, I speak Ilocano, di ba? So when I go up, yung kotse ko kasi, the plate number is Manila. So nakikita ko yung guard ng mga ganun. And then I immediately speak Ilocano. Apay, kasi, and then they immediately, nga, tapos Ilocano, nga, ang yabang tong mga taga Manila nga. Lalo ang Christmas time, holidays, ang daming tao. So if kami nga sa Baguio nang lapit sa Manila, we feel that kind of Imperial Manila,
Wow.
Hindi pa kayang mas malayo.
I completely relate to Davao. 100%. So I just feel people understand that where I'm coming from is, I think Davao as a city and as a people is way better than Duterte. They have outgrown that need. And maybe, trapo din to dynasty, but maybe you have an alternative now that mas tugma, at least medyo Harvard Law School graduate, medyo hindi, data driven. I mean, look at, diba, Digong made Carlo Nograles not only his CAP secretary, but also one of the spokesmen during COVID to discuss all the...
Yes.
Matalinang tao. So, I just hope our folks in Davao don't get into this weaponization of tribalism. Because I'm from Baguio, I'm from Solid North supposedly, but I've criticized PBM, I've criticized Marcos Sr. So I don't allow my ethnicity or background define my opinion. Because we are way more than just Marcoses. So that's where I'm coming. Sorry. Kayo, what is your read on that? On the whole Imperial Manila, Davao, and have you been to Davao, any of you guys? Have you? What is your impression of Davao? Let's do a Davao conversation, right? We need this, brother.
The last time I was there, hindi pa yata presidente si Digong eh. So matagal-tagal na din eh. Kasi I used to go there for business dun sa kumpanya namin. It's nice naman, ganda naman yung mga malls and yung mga places doon. It's hard to say din eh kung
Kinakabahan na.
Kinakabahan na din ako eh.
No. Okay, let's be fair. Kasi ang tingin nila is kung taga Manila ka, ang babaw ng tingin mo sa Davao. That's not true.
That's not true. The Duterte's created that narrative. That's not
like
even
that.
true.
Yeah, it's not like
So, kasi alam mo, a politician, a populist president, or a populist leader will always look for an enemy that we
us
can...
versus them.
Right. It's always that. Kaya palagi, ang that's that style. Ang nakakatawa, ang daming mga tao na nauuto pa rin dito, hindi nila alam na tactic yun. Yung, us against the communists, us against the drug addicts, or us against, yun na nga, mga taga Imperial Manila. Dude,
othering. Yeah.
nobody is, walang nang-aapik kanino. You're the one creating that narrative in your head that's not even based
I mean,
on
there's
reality.
obviously
But I
some
think,
prejudice
ano eh,
here and there. But
There's
it's not all of
prejudice
us.
on all
All
sides.
sides, sa bagay.
It's hard for me to understand it din kasi I'm from Imperial Manila. So hindi ko
Imperial QC.
Oh, eh. So, pero like for example, 'di ba sa Cebu, 'di ba? Some Cebuano friends ayaw nilang Tagalog. They would rather Cebuano or English. So merong ganong
Yeah, but
ano
see,
eh.
do you hear people from Cebu saying to you na, taga Manila ka, walang. No, it's friendlier. Davao, he was able to weaponize that I'm from Davao, you're from Manila, and so you're an asshole. Cebu and Manila, I don't see that kind of tension as much as they created with only the people that support Duterte.
Ako, taga Baguio, my lola was there, God bless her so much. Everyone is actually ang linis ng Davao, maayos ng Davao. What I saw in Davao just confirmed everything I was told about it while I was critical of Digong's national policies, etc. In fact, there was a part of me, again, this is out of respect, is that I don't know about 80s and 90s what you needed, but obviously I still disagree with the method. But ako kasi, isa sa pinaka nakakainis sa akin is nung naging presidente si Digong, biglang nagkakaroon ng EJK sa Baguio. In fact, may isang kilala ng pinsan ko na binaril sa gitna ng Session Road. Dude, like that's like it's like Times Square instead. Well, Times Square actually has a lot of crime. Think about a square or a main thoroughfare in a city na sobrang peaceful. And the next thing, bigla may... So parang, bakit nyo dinadala yung sa inyo sa amin? Parang, na-impose nyo sa amin. Doon ako nainis eh. Nawala lang yun nung naging si Magalong ng mayor. Kasi he's police. Like, no, I'll do it my way. He has the authority. Pero to be honest, before that, may mga EJK sa Baguio na naiinis ako na, this is the Davao model. Don't impose it on us.
Yep.
I felt offended as a Baguio boy that you're imposing it on the rest of us when hindi naman kailangan ng EJK sa Baguio. In fact, hindi kailangan to begin with. But I just felt that was Imperial Davao
right
on us in Baguio. Yeah, that's one way it got personal to me. Like, barilan sa gitna ng Baguio? Like, I never seen guns in Baguio. Like, that's crazy. Kahit suntukan lang, minsan lang kami.
That's why I was asking kanina kung how Davaoenos kaya feel about EJK. Kasi isang important din that we need to
But can they be really honest to us? Like, unless it's off the record and all. Kasi on the record, I
connect this dun sa question ko sa buong bansa eh. Kasi there's a large segment din ng population natin who knows about EJK. Alam nila na walang due process, walang talagang may summary execution lang, but they were still all right with it.
Yes.
Because they had given up on this system.
Oo.
So,
yes.
the term for that is penal populism. Yung idea na is, I'm the Dirty Harry, right?
Yep.
Wala eh. The sheriff is corrupt. I just have to shoot down the criminals. So, I think, understandable yung mindset na yan pag anarchic yung situation. I don't know, failed states, Somalia,
Yes.
I don't know, whatever. Pero napakasensado naman ng Davao ngayon at hindi naman ganun kagrabe yung buong Pilipinas. Again, I'm not saying EJK is okay. I'm just saying, I just don't feel we are in a chaotic situation to warrant that. Now, there are parts of the Philippines that obviously are problematic, but I still don't see a justification for that kasi just too many people got killed na dapat hindi pinatay. I mean, actually, none of them should have been killed kaya nga due process. And my point is, how are you gonna make our system more accountable? Parang, paano mo i-solve yung problema kung yung solution mo is even worse? Diba? You might kill the patient with the bad medicine.
Sa akin, how do you convince these people na mali yan eh. Kasi parang sa kanila, hindi, parang
Cancel
justified
culture,
eh. Justified yung... So, yun ang I'm having a hard time kung how to explain to someone na... Kasi I see them all the time eh. Yung mga fans ni Duterte, ganun eh.
Alam mo, nakakatawa. They actually admit that Duterte kills people.
At proud ba sila?
And proud pa sila. That's the weird thing eh. When this whole thing started in 2016, first they were in denial. They would say na hindi si Duterte pumapatay, it's the drug lords fighting each other kasi natatakot sila, mahuhuli sila. Pero walang ginawa si Duterte dyan. Now, it's just outright, hindi, tama, si Duterte pumapatay, tama yan. And ituloy pa niya yan. Gusto pa namin ng maraming patayan. I was surprised to see some people in Davao commenting on my vlog saying na, gusto namin si Digong, gusto namin matuloy ang patayan. What the heck is wrong with you? Think about what
I
you're
heard
saying.
something worse, bro. By the way, shout out to Davao, number 4 urban centers where my audience comes from. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like nakita ko.
Oh.
They're my 4th largest audience.
Okay,
Of all cities on
let
Earth.
me ask you something.
More than
Are
Baguio.
you getting bashed?
Not as much as before. I'm actually,
Exactly.
I'm surprised. What's
exactly.
going on?
So what I'm saying is, how big is the Davao? In terms of percentage, how big is Davao?
I think it's big enough. It's 12%,
Oh,
15%.
12,
I get
15%.
a million comments, so
Okay.
like it should be thousands, right?
Okay, so you're talking about 12% and you're not getting the bashing, then that means there's a lot of people in Davao
Who
that
agree.
I believe that agree and do not want Duterte in power. And even if you see it now, tingin ko talaga, nare-realize sila na, nga, no, tagal na rin si Digong at saka kung 30 years nga siyang mayor, tapos hindi pa tapos tong drug war niya, wow, papatayin na niya tayong lahat kasi sino pa papatayin niya kung hanggang ngayon hindi pa napapatay lahat.
Ako, I've heard even crazier ones, I'm sure. Alam mo yung Koratong Balele, yung conspiracy,
Yes.
like essentially, you centralize, parang idea is that, kaysa sari-sari store,
Centralize mo na
i-mall
yung
mo na,
kina-
para at least, I don't know, like, mas maayos yung distribution. Like, I heard crazy stuff, like, what? Parang, lahat na lang sinabi para lang ma-justify yung vote nila nung 2016. Ako naman, sabi ko, simple lang naman ang pwede mong sabihin. I was frustrated, I was angry, I won't dispute that.
Yep.
Pumalpak talaga yung mga liberals, reformists, but wag mo nang pilitin.
Yeah. No, don't double down.
Double down, yun ang problem. But that's the problem, di ba? I can do that in person one-on-one kasi, I mean, in fairness, mabait ako in person, right? And maybe you don't agree. Pero online kasi hindi. Talagang bashing yan eh. So I feel a lot of times people are defensive kasi sobrang abrasive online. Especially yung bang woke natin kaibigan. Talagang they cancel the whole city. Like, wag kayo pumunta Davao, gano'n. They say, wait, Ilocano, solid north, gano'n. Like, my family, a lot of them voted for Marcos, not my mom and dad. But I didn't cancel them. I still love them. I disagree with them. I have family members family relatives who vote for Trump. Doesn't mean like you know what I'm saying? I disagree with. So, I think compassion, understanding, empathy is important. But at the same time, it's also important to nudge them finally in the right. At least I have some of my pinsan who openly say, nga, tama ka, ibang klase talaga si Digong eh. Pero Marcos pa rin tayo.
Ito tanong ko about Davao. Kasi syempre, pinag-uusapan natin how they feel about the Duterte. Pero hindi kaya in the end, itong sa Davao will be about pera-pera lang. Hindi kaya doon din yung bagsak din.
That's the Carpio argument. That's the Carpio.
You think that
Everywhere in the Philippines, everywhere in the Philippines.
Argument to Justice Carpio is the biggest ace card of Duterte's is their confidential fund. And look at
True.
Pera.
Nakatago lahat
Money convinces many mindsets. Like, I think kailangan natin kasi bigla may Louis Vuitton.
Hindi yung tanong how much of their resources kaya will be placed dito to defend home court dito sa 2025.
Tsaka saan sila kuha ng pera?
Hindi, yung
Wow!
yung
yung legit.
okay.
Kasi wala nang confidential fund. Wala nang development fund. I wonder
the city confidential fund is huge.
Kaya nga if you have
tinatanggal na, hindi pa rin.
No, it's still there. 500 million yun.
if you have saved money or how much of that will you have to use?
Yun nga eh.
Para
yung war chest.
Yung war chest to baka in the end, 'di ba? We discuss kung ganito ba yung baka nang pera-pera lang to sa dulo.
No, I think hindi lang. Hindi lang but big factor. 40%.
I will be the
40%.
I will be the one to say na I have hope and I believe in the people in Davao na hindi nila papayagan mabenta yung boto nila para lang sa 5,000 pesos. Ano ba population ng Davao ngayon? 1.8?
Depends. The greater Davao is malaki.
Davao City. Davao City lang naman tatakbo ni Duterte. Davao City is 1 point...
200,000.
No, 1 point...
1 million na?
Isn't it Davao City? 1.9.
Yeah, you're right.
Malaki.
It's a big, 1.9 million. And now...
Paano kung merong ang vote buying sa Davao, pero the Dutertes will lose naman?
Kasi kahit naman may vote.
Alam mo bakit?
Is it meron bang good kind of vote buying?
Well, I will tell you what. In some part of Ilocos, I won't say where, sabi nung mga kaibigan ko on the ground in Ilocos, this back in the day, nagkaroon ng second round of vote buying. Hindi na makahabol.
Oh my God.
Nagtapatan and then
wow.
out. So, kaya you are not hearing about a certain family from that region anymore.
Well, wait. The Nograles are backed up by BBM? Okay. Let's just because okay. So if he was, then BBM has the machinery and the budget as well. Ganun din. Budget.
Yung nga baka magka-cancel out yung vote buying.
And when you do vote buying naman, isn't it a fact that they can't see what you're voting naman? Is there a way to be able to...
There is daw.
There
are
is
some studies, I'll tell you what. there are a couple of different ways daw. One is, dapat maggaganong ka daw ng konti. So may tao doon sa loob na magvo-vote ka. Di ba, kunyari that igaganon mo ng konti so they have to see. So there's a watcher daw.
Oh.
Second, if kunyari binera ang isang barangay.
They monitor
and
per
then
barangay.
biglang hindi nagkaroon ng ROI, yari yung barangay. Buong barangay. So what happens is that they have capos inside who spy on those. Kunyari, ikaw, taga barangay A ka, tapos nagpo-post ka ng anti-mayor, may babantay sa'yo. So ano talaga pare? Collective punishment. So it's not just vote buying. Actually, it's vote intimidation. And yun ang hindi dinidiscuss ng ating mga kaibigan ng Pink. Puro na lang disinformation. Pare, mas malaking
Sa
factor
ground,
ang intimidation, lalo dun sa probinsya. Pare, yayariin mo
Yeah.
yung barangay mo.
Yeah, wow.
Or yung...
It's happening in all provinces. Walang
When you say yayariin, what are you referring to?
there could be all
Violence?
forms of
Death?
different- Yeah, there could be... Or they could cut off budget development to that area. Hindi maayos yung...
matatanggal sa trabaho.
There's a
or
whole, bro.
they
There's a whole
suspended,
menu of
or-
punishment.
Oh my God.
Singapore is also like that, allegedly. If certain areas don't vote for that, kunyari opposition, biglang delayed na yung mga train. Of course, Singapore is soft
Right.
authoritarian. But in some places, let's say in Mindanao or some poorer areas of the country, yayarin daw. There are academic studies on that, na meron silang talagang watchers. May kapos sila. Online, offline, even sa loob ng barangay. And I will tell you what, even if all of this is not true, the myth of that is strong enough also. Baka madulas tayo, pare. At saka, isa lang naman ang vote mo eh. Kung magpasaway ka, yayarin ka, di naman ibang, di ba? It's so easy to be cynical.
Yep.
Bakit ka magmamaganda? Takot nga lahat. Kaya sabi ko, yun ang dapat discuss natin eh. In fairness to Lenny, sorry about the last. In fairness to Lenny, she tried to kind of solve the problem by saying, kunin mo yung pera, pero wag mong botohin. Pero it doesn't take in consideration intimidation factor, and second, well, it's illegal. Like you're saying. So you have to strengthen COMELEC talaga. Yung COMELEC talaga, dapat may tao
walang
doon.
na-arresto ni isa eh.
Nobody, ever.
Unless ayaw ng admin, di ba? Biglang after 2 years, biglang may election challenge yung kunyari. Sa, di ba, sa Cagayan, biglang may issue. Ganun lang naman eh. Very selective. I think kung may 10 malalaking tao LGO mahuli, magkakaroon ng counter fear factor. No one talks about it, right? COMELEC is so weak. It how much you're spending. Online expenditure.
And even if they do, they don't do anything about it.
They cannot do anything.
Yeah,
wala
wala.
silang manpower, wala silang muscle.
Yeah.
Wala silang muscle. So daming nagsabi sa akin, theory lang yung sinasabi niyo na anonymous.